What's up, my peeps? I'm back with some Destruction AllStars news, and I know it's been a while, but yo, the last Destruction AllStars video that I posted up with some brand new footage, they copyright strike that, and I'm not talking about a claim, no, I'm talking about the actual bad one, a strike. And it wasn't even leaked footage, it was straight from the PS5 share factory, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna back off a little bit, and there wasn't any news anyway since then. But that changed today as Sony or PlayStation posted up a full-on Destruction AllStars gameplay video with the most amount of gameplay we've seen so far from the game, and I've gotta say, watching that video, the game's looking great, and I'm not talking about just the graphics here, I'm talking about the actual gameplay. It looks really fun. And along with that brand new Destruction AllStars video, we got a ton of new information, from the vehicles to the characters to the single player, and it's mostly good news, but there is a little bad news sprinkled in there which you might have missed, because they kind of waited until towards the end to mention it. But anyways, let's get straight into all the brand new news. Alright, so first off, all the new vehicle and character news that we got. So we knew that there was going to be basic vehicles in the game, generic vehicles to start off every online match, which you can jump into right away. But what we didn't know is that these vehicles were going to be separated into 3 categories. The first one being the speed type vehicles. These are going to be the fastest vehicles in the game, and they're going to be the best at drifting as well. But of course, they're going to come at a cost, and that's lower HP. They're not going to be able to take as much damage as the other vehicles, but you know, you can't have it all. So you want the fastest vehicle, okay, you can get that, but it's not going to survive as many hits. Comes in at 120 HP. And then you got these smallest vehicles, which are surprisingly not the ones with the least amount of HP. These ones are going to be the most agile and the best to control with 160 HP, so right in the middle. And then, of course, you're going to have your heavy vehicles, the ones with a lot of HP, the ones that can take a lot of damage, the tanks basically. These ones are going to come in at 200 HP. So that definitely makes it so at the very beginning of the match, while pretty much everybody's going to be racing towards a car, you probably want to, you know, take a quick look, a quick glance at the cars first to get the one that you actually want or that you prefer, whether that's a heavy, a speed type, or a smaller one, because they're not all going to control the same, they're not all going to take the same amount of damage or whatever. So it's definitely going to come down to preference and what mode you're playing. But now onto the character-specific stuff. So Lupita, which is one of the characters that they've been pushing a lot and showing in these videos, she's actually considered an offensive character, an offensive driver, and she's going to have 180 HP. So that's a little below heavy, but above the basic speed and smallest vehicles. Now that one isn't too surprising, but what was surprising is that they reveal that Shift, the character that can go stealth, that can go invisible in both his car and out of his car. He's actually considered a defensive character. Now I'm used to characters in games that can go invisible not having that much HP, but his vehicle is actually going to have 200 HP, which is the exact same amount as the basic heavy vehicle, so that's pretty interesting there. So not only can he somewhat avoid damage by going stealth, but also he can take a decent amount of damage with his vehicle with that 200 HP. And that's not even it, they also said that while his vehicle is in stealth mode, if he hits a slam attack, that slam attack is also souped up. And while he's in stealth mode on foot, he disappears off the minimap. So Shift seems like it's going to be a real solid character. Next up, it was also revealed in the video that Ultimo Barricado's hero vehicle is going to come in with 260 HP. As of right now, this is the highest of all the vehicles. Keyword is so far though, because have you seen Sergeant Rescue's vehicle? I mean, look at the size of that thing. You know that thing's gonna have a ton of HP. And also that other character, Fuego, they didn't even show his hero vehicle, but you know it's gonna have a ton of HP. I mean, look at the guy. The buffest dudes in the games always have the most HP, so it's either going to be Ultimo Barricado with that 260 HP being the highest, or Sergeant Rescue because of his vehicle, or this guy, Fuego. Anyways, moving on. Xander, he looks like he's going to be a nimble character. Vehicle HP, 160. Hannah, her vehicle's HP is 140, pretty low, but that slice ability is looking pretty cool. Now moving on to the brand new info we got on the challenge series, aka the single player. It's now confirmed that Ultimo Barricado, Genesis, Lupita, Shift, and Bluefang will have a dedicated challenge series. Keep in mind, for those of you who haven't heard the prior news or the other information that we got before, not all the characters are going to have a single player story. It's only a select few, which we saw them or saw some of them in this preview that PlayStation uploaded. And one thing new that was revealed in the new video is that there's actually going to be cutscenes with voice acting in the single player. So yes, it's a multiplayer focused game, but it's nice to see that the single player wasn't a complete afterthought. And some of you might be like, yeah, what's so special about, cutscenes with voice acting? Yo, there's a bunch of games still with no cutscenes in their campaign or story mode and no voice acting. And that's great in my opinion, and definitely a surprise, but there is some bad news that came with this brand new video. So they revealed that the challenge series actually need to be redeemed, aka unlocked, and the way you unlock them is with destruction points. Now here's the issue. Unlike all-star points, you can't get destruction points via just playing the game once the game launches. They said that to get destruction points, you need to purchase them off the PlayStation Store, so actually pay actual money for the destruction points, which you then would use to redeem the challenge series or also other items. But they did say that destruction points would be made available to be earned in-game later this year. But basically, if you were thinking about playing all the single player right from the get-go once the game launched, for free at least, you're not going to be able to do that. And now on to an extra tad bit of info. So we already knew that you're going to be able to take over vehicles. And they revealed that you're going to be able to do that by dodging a car that's coming at you and jumping onto the top of the car. If you manage to do that, you'll get the option of either taking over the vehicle, aka stealing it, or wrecking it. And then whichever one you choose, looks like you enter into a button mashing minigame with the driver, which if you ask me, I feel like the driver's going to be at a disadvantage unless he completely stops driving, because if he's driving at the same time, he's got to hold more buttons than you, who's just trying to take over the vehicle. But I could be wrong. Anyways, why am I even mentioning this, right? Well, it's because in the video, they mentioned the other modes. They actually showed them in action. We heard about them in that PlayStation blog a while ago. Carnado, Stockpile, and what's the other one? Gridfall, I think? Something like that. Anyways, basically, two of them, Stockpile and Carnado, are all about wrecking your opponents and collecting their gears. But there's one big difference between Stockpile and Carnado. In Stockpile, when you get some gears, your character holds those gears. It's not within your car. So you can ditch your car, and you're supposed to ditch your car to deposit them in the bank. But in Carnado, it's the opposite. You need your car because the gears you collect are stored within your car. So you need your car because all your gears are going to be stored in that car. And this is where I'm going with here. I don't think anybody's going to go ahead and wreck anybody's car when they've got the choice to take it over in Carnado. And I think that's going to make for some cool moments when somebody just goes ahead and starts collecting a ton of gears. Maybe he's got, I don't know, 30 or something like that, and he's feeling all high and mighty. Oh, I'm gonna win this, I'm gonna score a ton of points, and then bam, somebody comes in, steals his car, steals all those gears for himself. And I think that's gonna make it so, at least as of right now, it looks like the strategy you'll want to use in that mode is instead of collecting as many gears as possible and waiting until the very last moment when you've got a ton of gears with you to deposit them, it's probably going to be the better decision to just quickly collect gears, and as soon as you got some, deposit them. So that way somebody, or at least you reduce the chances of somebody going ahead and stealing your car and your gears. Because the longer you're out there in your car, the more opportunity for people to go ahead, steal your car, steal your gears. But that's just how things are looking right now. I don't know everything, but as of right now, this looks like the strategy you use. So that's pretty much all the big stuff covered, but one more thing, if you guys haven't joined the Destruction AllStars Discord already, go ahead and join it. The link is in the description box, and I just opened up a submit your clips section where you guys can post up the clips, the cool clips that you get from your Destruction AllStars gameplay once the game comes out. And if you put your YouTube or Twitter in there or whatever, if I use that clip in a highlight montage or something like that, I'll credit your YouTube or Twitter, whatever you put in there. With that said, let me know what you think in the comment section of all the news that dropped today. If you're looking forward to the game and you want to see content on the game, make sure to subscribe, click that like button, and one more really important thing that I wanted to tell you guys is that